Good evening, my fellow Warmachine and Hordes players. This is your president, MenothJohn. 4 and 2.5 years ago, we came forth onto these internets to bring forth 90 minutes of your favorite Sunday night addiction. Ladies and gentlemen, I am MenothJohn, and you have tuned into the correct program. This is the Painting with MenothJohn show, and it means it is Sunday night, and of course with me is the man that makes it all possible, this fellow right here. That is Mr. John Spencer. Woohoo!
Hey, brushheads.
That's right, the co-host with the host. There you go. I thought I almost forgot it, didn't you?
No. We can't have not brushhead Dave have a moment without that.
No, that is not a good thing, and that is not something that I, as president of Warmachine and Hordes, will ever stand for. Not Brushhead Dave, take that. Anyway, so we are here again with you tonight, and I have to say, John, this is one of the most exciting evenings in Warmachine and Hordes. I would dare say, and as president of Warmachine and Hordes, I can say this, the errata that I released as a part of my first act as president of Warmachine and Hordes is the biggest change to Warmachine and Hordes since Mark II.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, see? That's the kind of... This is change you can believe in right here, folks. Right here from the mouth of a 47-year-old guy from Wisconsin. And I'm not talking about Scott Goddamn Walker.
Oh, let's not talk about him.
No, if I only had a brain. All right, so anyway.
Sure fits.
So there we go, folks. We're going to talk all about the errata because, let's face it, no other podcasts are talking about it.
Oh, yeah, none at all. And no one else is going to talk about it.
No, nobody's talking about it as we speak, I promise.
Yeah. No one important.
So, whoa, shots fired. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. So, yes, we're going to talk about the errata. It's really good. I'm not talking about the tomato errata that Belinda Librarian talked about on my Facebook page. But I have some tomato plants in the backyard, and they have been fruitful, and they have multiplied. To the point...
Well, tomato plants being fruitful is good.
And
I
am up to my pajingas, whatever those are, in tomatoes. So, as president of Warmachine and Hordes, I declare that our national fruit is the tomato. There we go.
Oh bueno.
As a fact, it is a fruit. I've been corrected many times by Belinda Librarian on that fact, and it is delicious, especially the orange ones, the little orange cherry ones I have, and the other ones. I have some vintage, what are they called, heirloom tomatoes. So anyway, this is Painting with MenothJohn. This is not vegetables with MenothJohn or fruits or whatever.
Fruits with MenothJohn.
Exactly. Want to get that wrong. We're also going to talk a little bit about the cabinet. For those of you who are unaware, as now that I'm running unopposed, along with my vice president Nappy, we're definitely assembling our cabinet as we speak. We like to think of them as cronies. And remember, cronyism comes with membership, and that is only gained through patreon.com/MenothJohn. So if you'd like to be a member of the cabinet and see more errata like what was released this week, and would like a part in helping to form that errata, become a patron. With citizenship comes citizenship or something, whatever it was that they said. I was just watching Starship Troopers. And let me tell you, Rico had it right with Diz. Diz was the hot one. The hell with what's-her-face, Denise Richards. Diz was where it was at. She was hot. Anyway, as president of Warmachine and Hordes, I declare that Diz was the hot one. So there you go. Oh, my God. My presidency is off and running, John.
I was going to say off the rails, but that works too.
All right. Well, tonight we need. All the best presidencies are off the rails. We're bringing in from the top rope, John, for our beverage update. Everybody's favorite luchador bottle opener. Hey man, what's up? Come open up your beer. There you go. So we're opening up a bottle of Southern Tier Warlock for tonight. I think it's important that if we're going to be taught. Hey, I'll get you later. Okay, so he's saying bye. And we're going to pour this out here for everyone to see how amazing this beer is. It is a chocolate stout with pumpkin in it, and it is delightful and dark, and if you drink it too quickly, you can see forever. It is 10% alcohol by volume, so this is going to be a good one, folks. What are you having tonight there, John?
Well, I've got a shot of Kraken.
Nice.
And a shot of Fireball.
Nice.
And a Force Blow.
Holy shit! You're taking it out old school, John. Well, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's biggest question is, will the president or the co-host with the host end up shit-faced first on tonight's podcast? So, on behalf of the cronies, hey, Ron!
Ron.
By the way, John, I don't know if you noticed in the chat room there, Dowdark has a flippity bloop.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to lose track of that one. So I'm going to have a little bit of this one. It's lovely. I blame Rich Broutman from the Beer Machine podcast for this beer. It's beautiful. It's like drinking a pumpkin pie. It's amazing. Okay.
Did you see that a Morton Joe submitted a motion that our favorite condiment would be salt?
That is lovely. So shall it be, Immortan Joe. That is amazing. We're going to need to probably keep track of all this stuff. So I'm going to make a little note here that salt is the new condiment.
Salt's actually pretty good on tomatoes too, actually.
Oh, it's fantastic. If you're not putting a little bit of salt and pepper on your tomato, you're probably doing it wrong. As president of Warmachine and Hordes, I declare that all tomato will be served with salt and pepper. And then also we want to, what was the other thing that we had decided? I don't know, I'll listen to the tape. Whatever, it's going to be lots of stuff.
Tomato official fruit, salt official, I don't even remember.
Yeah, whatever, who gives a shit? It's this, in the new world that we are making each and every day here at the Painting with MenothJohn show, we're living it on a minute-by-minute basis. So let's talk a little bit about here first, John, before we talk about the errata. Let's get some of this, the cabinet work out of here. Remember, each and every one of these have paid for their cronyism through patreon.com/MenothJohn. Just wanted to say, first off, that David Cameron, who is from the UK, we don't, by the way, John, we don't discriminate based on national origin, just like the presidency and of the United States. So his first edict will be to assume control of all War Machine Hordes matters and conducted outside of the continental U.S. So he's going for the he's taking control of the Englands, the Canadas. He's taking care of the Spains and all those kinds of people. He will gladly take the counsel from Norbert Brunhuber, Jamie Perkins, and all other non-Americans for a better tomorrow in the benevolent shadow of Painting with MenothJohn, the president of War Machine. So on behalf of my new cabinet member, Mr. David Cameron, hey, Ron.
Ron.
This is where this part of the show is going to get a little crazy. Okay, so...
Wait, are you doing that after every single one?
Absolutely. On behalf of Will, the original, Will Burke, who is now the Secretary of Storm Calls, his first act will be to remind every player who thinks that their precious Eris, Gorman, or other bullshit solo can't escape the threat of a 1-point Signar solo. That would be his first act, would be to remind those people. So on behalf of our new Secretary of Storm Calls, Will Burke, hey, Ron.
Ron.
There we go.
By the way, you're going to be messed up before me. I got a cherry Coke for this shit.
Oh, that's okay. Well, no, I'm just taking little tiny sips. This isn't the shot of beer episode. That was a tragic mistake. Next up on the line here is Barry Holmes. He would kindly request the Secretary of Round Ear Removal. So I guess we have an Elfin fan here. His first actions will be to remove Crix as a playable faction, probably right after I rebalance Haley 2. This comes from Rave Bomb Holmes. By the way, Rave Bomb, we've already taken care of that for you. Not a problem. I would like to say that I would say that this was a suggestion that led to my errata that came out this week. But as you can see, I'm not going to give you that much credit because that's what presidents do. We take the suggestions of the cabinet and we simply claim them as our own. It's part of the deal. But on behalf of John and I, hey, Ron.
Ron.
To Michael Breen, who is the first action is to wean our Crixian brothers and sisters off the tiers of other players. He will start a campaign that will mimic former First Lady Nancy Reagan's "Just Say No" campaign. And then he says, understanding what tiers can do to your thralls, understanding peer pressure, and understanding why thralls turn to tier is the first step in solving the Crixian problem. For the record, he is a Crix player and is happy he's been tier-free for 2 days. So on behalf, he didn't really claim a cabinet spot, but I guess we'll give him the secretary of snappy programs. So there you go. Hey, Ron.
Ron.
Now this next one from JCrod7776 starts his letter to me in the appropriate manner. Dear Supreme Leader, I, JCrod, would like to nominate myself for Secretary of Alcoholic Beverages. First order of business, a Kraken in every household, followed by the Universal Kraken Care Act, then the creation of the National Kraken Security Department. He's asking for my serious consideration, and to that I say, I am very serious when I say, hey, Ron! Now, Tadgo has a few things to say about being in charge, Secretary of Alcoholic Beverages. So I think what we're probably going to do is we're probably going to ask Tadgo and JCrod to collaborate. You know, being cohesive and synergistic is a very important part of the new world order of Painting with MenothJohn. And so they will work in concert. I'm very pleased though to have you, JCrod. John, did I Ron him? We'll Ron him again. Oh my God, this is so smooth. This is going down great. Okay, John, I met a very wonderful fellow with an amazing mustache when I was in Buffalo, New York.
Oh yeah?
Yes, his name is Dan Vanderkoy, and Dan is an amazing fella. And during our first game, we had a very unfortunate table flipping episode where the table actually flipped.
Oh shit!
It was inadvertent. Mistakes were made. Dan's an amazing guy. And we shared a beer over it after it happened, and everything was cool. But he is nominating himself, Dan Vanderkoy, as Secretary of Transportation. Now, you're asking yourself, what the hell would we need a Secretary of Transportation for? Well, I'm here to tell you, he will serve the United States of Podmerica by ensuring a fast, safe, efficient, accessible, and convenient transportation system excuse me, I'm going to burp. Okay. That meets our vital tournament interests and enhances the quality of painting of the Warmachordian people today and for the future. See, that's what I like about this guy, John. He thinks out into the future because I am president for life, but he wants to make sure that we get the building blocks in place. His first action will be to establish two new agencies. We believe in big government here at Painting with MenothJohn. The FMA and the IMS, the Federal Mustache Association, will oversee the distribution of mustache rides for all Warmachine and Hordes players who have coined in any steamroller tournament and are traveling to their next steamroll tournament. The Internal Mustache Service will monitor and audit the quality of mustaches in the Warmachine and Hordes community to address issues of public image and public safety. So there you have it, folks. Dan Vanderkoy, our new Secretary of Transportation. Hail to the motherfucker.
Ron.
Yeah, Ron, too. Okay, next up is Chris Marshall.
Oh, shit.
If a secretary I must be okay, Chris, English. We try English here in the United States, and especially in Warmahordes. If a secretary I must be instead of... was he drunk? Instead of Minister of Ungentlemanly Affairs or Lord High Admiral. I like the ring of Lord High Admiral, by the way. He could also go... I could go for Secretary of Privateering, War, or Sarcasm. So, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, our new Secretary of Sarcasm, Chris Marshall. Hey, Ron.
Ron.
Mm.
And I can attest to his skills in the sarcasm category.
By the way, there's still more. So
That's why I switched to Cherry Coke.
Yeah, that's right. We have John, not to lord this over anybody, we have more patrons than Chain Attack.
Oh, snap.
But there's always room for more.
Yeah,
always
Dojo.
Always room for more. Anyway, so David Wonke is applying for the Secretary of Colossal Affairs. So I'm willing to give that to him.
Sure.
And then, because he's so colossal, he couldn't see the fine print in that email that said that you needed to say what the F you were going to do with your cabinetry. So we decided to, he sent another email, and these are his first acts as as that new department secretary. He is going to he's going to have Karchev riding a Conquest or a Victor, otherwise known as Karchev the Ginormous. He is going to create Super Colossal Harby, the supreme engine of Menite Faith, with 20 focus.
Ugh.
That's also a playable 40K model. Durgan on an Earthbreaker with a scatter shotgun, Durgan the Explodinator. Straight up from Dr. Doofenshmirtz for sure. And he has no idea what the hell to do to fix Ret. And he said he also would like everyone to know screw Signar and Crix. So David, I read this email, and the first thing I decided I would do would help you with that, and that's exactly what I did with the errata. So I may have written the errata, but you can blame David Wonke for the errata if you're not happy about it. If you like it, it's on me. If you don't like it, David Wonke. Miles Healy. I'm sorry, I forgot to Ron him. Hey, Ron.
Ron.
We only have a few more to go. This one's from Miles Healy. We love Miles here at the show. Longtime brushhead, and now crony and cabinet member. Miles Healy, would have the position of Secretary of Punching Poor Sportsmen in the Head. This is something we can all benefit from.
I'm down with that.
Yep, we can all benefit from this. So he's going to be our sergeant at arms, if you will. You know, I'm thinking about Robert's Rules of Order here, and Miles Healy will be standing alongside of us with some kind of a two-handed sword, and don't get the fuck out of line. And so the last one, we have two left. The next one is from Arky Dan. We love Dan Cotrope from the wonderful world of Tectonic Craft. Craft?
I think it's Crafts.
Yeah, Crafts. I feel terrible. He's sending me stuff, and I fuck up his company name. Tectonic Craft Studios. Thank you.
Yep.
Arkadan is putting in for Secretary of Filthy Casuals, and my first action would be to implement quarterly narrative events to develop some more personal investment in the storylines of Kane. I like this.
I'm down.
I am absolutely down with this, and as president of Warmachine and Hordes, I promise a lot of things on this show, John, some of which I follow through with. And the behind me, the construction is nearing completion. Not really, but kind of. Anyway, when the rest of the other room is done, I'm going to have a narrative campaign where I bring in some friends, and we're going to run through a narrative campaign much like Mini Wargaming's does. Where it's just going to be fluffy and fun. I'll invent some shit, I'll write some stuff, and it'll be super fun. And it won't be Steamroller. It'll be something different, and we'll make it fun. It'll be good. So, and it won't be 158 episodes like the current one running on Mini Wargaming's is, where it's they have like all these teams, and it's very ambitious, and it was Matt did a nice job with it. But anyway, so there you go. So Arkadan, welcome to the as Secretary of Filthy Casuals. Hey, Ron.
Ron.
He's also sending me a set of the. He's got a 2D terrain that he has done. It looks like a topographical map, he says, and I think that'll be very interesting to see. So we'll be showing that on the show. He's being good enough to send it to me, so I will feature it on the show, and so everybody can see what it is. Dan is an amazing guy. If you want to get over to Tectonic Craft Studios and buy his shit because he's awesome.
He's a cool dude.
Yep, he is. He's got a heart as big as All Outdoors. I'm going to tell you what, that guy is good news. Anyway, so last one from over across the pond. This is from Sherwin Matthews. Sherwin was a gentleman I had the opportunity to play a game against at SmogCon, and I'm going to tell you, he's one of the true gentlemen of the community. Love this guy. He has put in for the. He wants to be the Secretary of Animatrix Welfare, and I couldn't agree with him more. I am making him the Secretary of Animatrix Welfare because there are going to be a lot more Animatrixes now, and they are going to need somebody to help take care of them. So he says that he serves at the pleasure of the president, which I'm all about. And between you and me, Sherwin, I'm giving you that plays well on the audio. Me doing the old, I'm looking at you guy kind of symbol. So there you go. And then says I think that's the term you use for non-elected cabinet and positions appointed by the president. But I could have just rolled double one on the monumental scale. No. You're fine. You're fine, brother. No problems. All right, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The Painting with MenothJohn presidential cabinet. We have more spots available. All you need to do is get over to www.patreon.com and submit. Here at Painting with MenothJohn, we like the kind of patronage that jingles. We prefer the kind that folds, but we'll take any of it. John, we have people who pledge at the 25-cent level, and they will have just as much cronyism as anybody else.
Absolutely.
So anyway, let's move on to segment 2 because we're running a little long, but not too long.
Not too long.
Let's talk a little bit about Errata. I'm going to bring up. We're going to do some shit behind the scenes here now. I'm going to try some stuff here. We're going to see if this works, and we're going to bring up what I hope to be. Now, John, I apologize. You're no longer in the picture, but we have up in front of us the Errata from August 2015.
Excellent. I'm bringing it up myself here now.
So this way people can continue to see my smiling face and me drinking. And, we skipped right over a word from our sponsor, but we'll come back to that, I think.
Yeah, we'll hit it at the end or something.
Yeah. Well, we have a very special guest. He's not completely painted, but he wanted to say something. Anyway, so here we have it. John, give me your take on the Errata for 2015.
I really think it's a test. It's a test of if they can errata the game into where they want it to be balanced, or
like
if
that.
they have to go with a Mark III at some point. They're trying to stave off Mark III as long as they can, and this is basically the big test of that.
I really like that perspective, John, because I was thinking the same thing this morning in the shower. There's an image for you, brushheads. I was thinking about this, and I'm going, given the scale of this Errata, I wonder if this is not some type of a 2.5 without releasing a 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very interesting perspective, John.
Because really they could, not to say, obviously they want money. No respect to the guys who are like...
I like money.
Yeah, they like money. They're a company. They're supposed to make money. They can also, when the Errata gets big enough, they can release a new card pack you can buy at a relatively reasonable price, because it's just a pack of cards, for fuck's sake. Because it only has to include the cards that are changed. Unless they replace the entire deck, in which case it's still all good.
Mm-hmm.
And boom, you've got all the Errata in your cards. Plus it's making War Room more valuable, which would be great if they can get Haley 3 in there and all.
Yeah. John, I was thinking about the cards thing the other day. And I'm wondering if they're getting to the point where the size of that deck is beginning to no longer make sense.
Yeah, it's getting kind of huge. I don't know what they would do if they were to release it. That's a ton of cards.
It's a big deck. That's what she said. Anyway. All right. Let's talk a little bit of specifics here. Let's start rolling through this. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and scroll this down here. And we're going to get to the first here. And we're going to talk about two of the biggest ones right off the get-go. And that is, the first one is Focus Shake Effect. And this one says, add the following to the Focus Shake Effect text during your control phase after allocating focus. If this model is affected by Shadowbind, that's a small effect, It can spend 1 focus to cause the Shadowbind status to expire, and then right below it, it has the same text for. No, wait a second. It says Shadowbind below it also.
No, blind on the same one. That
Oh yeah, yeah,
second
yeah. I'm
paragraph.
sorry. Down below that. Yep. Then blind. So here we have it. Shadowbind and blind are now shakeable. John, your thoughts?
Well, it's good because Denegretu's feat was obviously pretty horrific, and blind was pretty rough on a colossal. I mean, I say blind with Haley's feat. We'll get to that later. Would pretty much make a colossal not be able to do much anything.
Yep.
So now you can shake, and I mean it's good. It also opens the design space that more models can get those.
Exactly.
Things that maybe should have a critical effect. You can have crit blind on weapons now. You can have crit shadowbind on more stuff now. It's pretty fair. Plus, honestly, it always sucked when you'd get a shadowbound heavy without reach, staring at a Warward Sound, going, "Really, I'm gonna be stuck here for the rest of the game because that 2-point bitch said so."
Exactly. And I think what it does is it takes a lot of 2-point models that were very, very, very strong, and really brought them back, I think, in line with their point costs for a very simple effect. And I know that a lot of people are feeling a little bit upset that fire still remains unshakable. So does corrosion, but corrosion is not near as strong of an effect. I really think that these are, and this is a theme we're going to see throughout the errata, these are changes that lead to more fun. You get to do more with your models. It doesn't. It makes it less of a clamp down in much the same way that Mark I to Mark II was a return to not deploying your models and then picking them back up. This is another way of enhancing fun.
Mm-hmm. And also, Dark brings up a good point that we thought of. It's also sort of a stealth bonus to beasts and jacks. Maybe they don't want infantry machine to continue to be a thing. They've been trying to clamp down on that for a long, long time to honestly not as much effect as they'd like. This is one where suddenly beasts and jacks become a little better.
Absolutely. I mean, you think about if you see an opponent that's across from you on a table, and we're not all about the competition here, but we do see the occasional body and soul or other type of a any kind of, you see Eden Negra in that kind of a list. That now your list pairing, you're going to take the one that brings more of the beasts or more of the jacks, and I think that can only be a good thing. And what really is awesome about this is, and we're going to get to some of the stationary effects and things like that, and I'm jumping the gun, I don't want to talk about that, but it really enhances Colossals, it enhances Gargantuans, it enhances beasts and jacks, and I think that can only be a good thing.
Absolutely.
A 2-point model should not lock down a Colossal for the whole game. Anyway.
Wow, 2-point model couldn't lock it down, but it could definitely make it not a happy camper.
Fact. Okay. After a half a bottle of Warlock, I'm prone to some level of hyperbole. So there you go. So those are our first two effects, that the shake of being able to shake Shadowbind and being able to shake Blind. Good stuff. Mm-hmm. Let's continue on to find some more errata here. I love the fact that they put it in red because then I can go ahead and find it.
Page 7.
Let's see here. We got shake, and so we see here on page whatever the hell I'm on. It's just the same thing for Fury. So let's go ahead and move
for the other rule book.
Okay, so here we go. We're on here, page 7, as you said, John. So very succinctly, you are the co-host with the host, and this is Pack Fury and Fury points, closing a loophole on something that should have been common sense anyway.
Yeah.
You don't get
just
to
not
kill your
shit. Kill your own dudes and reave Fury from it because that's BS.
Fact. So, by the way, does this fuck up Jake Van Meter's Blight Wasp list?
No, not at all. He's not using them for that. He's using them because with Abby 2, they're fucking silly. Because think about, for the small amount of points, you've got 4 models that are affected by her feat. That's just pure effectiveness, pure efficiency.
Good. I mean, I think there was I'd heard some talk on some other places that maybe that they were trying to, someone with Abby 2 was reaving that Fury. I mean, that really falls into the category. I mean, they're not part of a battle group, and that falls into one of those things that if you're gonna rules lawyer something along that line, I have a suggestion for you for a game. It's called Age of Sigmar, and you may want to try that one out. Just saying.
I don't think there's any rules lawyering in Age of Sigmar. Boy,
Truth.
you'd have to really hard. You really have to try for that.
Truth. Good. Twirl your mustache or some shit. You're not doing it counterclockwise. That doesn't count. Okay, there you go. All right, so let's move on here to the Trencher Buster flank. This clears up the fact that, that's just common sense, right, John?
Yeah, it's common sense. And actually, we'll see it later again with Sergeant Nick from the Steelhead character. Obviously, you don't flank with yourself. Anyone who thought you flanked with yourself is silly. And this is just putting it in print so people will STF you.
That's right. Flanking with yourself can lead to hairy palms, blindness, and insanity. And we don't want any of that. So they've taken that right out of the game. So now we're going to, John, this is a very touching moment in the podcast. And I want all of you out there, this is a podcast of positivity. You realize that, right, John?
Yes.
So we're going to have a moment of silence for Victoria Haley. It's only gonna be a short fucking moment though. There, that's enough. This is the most impactful 7 words in Warmachine history. Remove the second sentence of temporal shift.
I'd actually say that the part with Shadowbind's just as impactful.
That's okay. Don't deny me the fact that I counted all of those words and came up with the right number. But remove
I didn't bother to count the other one.
So remove the second sentence from temporal shift. And for those of you who are playing along at home, that second sentence says that the Haley player gets to decide what order you activate in. You still have to sacrifice your movement or action, but now they can no longer basically say, you're going to activate all that shit out back before the stuff up front activates and time walk you for an entire round. This is only an increase in fun. John?
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't played Haley 2 a lot of times, and honestly, the first time I played her, the most annoying part was not that I had to lose half of my action, which, that was feat-worthy.
Yep.
It was not being able to actually move my stuff in an order so I don't get absolutely nut-stomped by it.
Oh, yeah. Yep, it putting the stuff out there so that you could just say, nope, not only are you not going to get to take half of your activation, I'm also going to put you in such a position that your shit can't get anywhere. And
it was darn annoying.
Absolutely. And her sister got a very similar nerf, and that's okay. I mean, honest to God, folks, we play a game. Let's have fun. And to say to get across a table and make someone else have unfun is uncool. There.
Yeah, and those are some of the big effects that are uncool. There's some more, but they're becoming very, very few and far between.
Amen. And I'll tell you what, I think this is a wonderful change. It's going to cause, and I saw so much salt related to, well, now we don't have a game against Legion. Bullshit.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Bullshit. Yeah. Shut up and get some creativity. And
this is a good time for my rant I want to do.
Go.
There are 2 parts to it. Originally, I was just going to go off on all the competitive players who are like, oh, wah. But no, you know what? Honestly, I'll start off going off. All us casual players, give those guys a little bit of a break. They technically play a different game than us. Because they play a game where only the top, third of any army is actually, quote-unquote, playable because they need the highest level stuff. And honestly, this is last-minute stuff for those guys at WTC. It actually does hurt months and months of preparation, and, it changes how they're going to play. So, you got to have a little bit of sympathy for those guys because this was just suddenly dropped on them.
No, I'm gonna take a little bit of a different. Those guys are amazing and wonderful, and I also trust the fact that they are going to overcome this.
Oh yeah. I mean, for Christ's sakes, they're the best players in the world. If they can't overcome it, I don't think they have a qualifier to the phrase "best players in the world."
Absolutely.
And I respect the hell out of all those guys because I haven't heard a single one of them. Well, I've heard like 1 or 2 of them go off about having to keep their same list with these errata. and it's very few and far between. And I respect the hell out of all the guys who haven't said anything. Are just gonna be like, "Well, you know, this is what I got to do. That's what you got to do."
Yep.
I respect that.
Absolutely. Tons of respect for everybody that didn't pitch a bitch. Because,
Yeah.
God damn it. It's supposed to be a game that we all have fun get to play. And when you get locked down in your deployment zone, how is that fun? Ha ha ha!
Yeah.
I just made you look like an ass. Well, fuck
Yeah.
you. So there you go.
And on the other hand, though, like you said, the competitive players don't like overreact. Like, oh my God, Haley 2's horrible now. Jesus Christ. The best response I've heard was that it takes her from being the best caster in the game, period, to the best caster in the game, question mark.
Yeah, and
I
that's
mean, come on. She's still really good. She's got one of the best spell lists in the game. She's got a plethora of abilities that are great. She's still 8 focus and effectively 9 with the damn Squire. She's a good caster.
Yep.
And if that one word changes your Legion matchup, that's on you, not on changing her.
there are a lot of different factions that have to deal with 00 Blitz.
Mm-hmm.
Get over it.
Yep. And honestly, because the big thing I heard is like they can run all their Legion beasts as hot as they want, then use their Shepherds and Forsakens. You're playing Signar, the shootiest faction. For Christ's sakes, just cast Deadeye on your murder ponies, and your murder ponies tramp a little bit forward, shoot the crap out of the support, and then gallop a little bit back. Good Lord, is that hard?
There's fucking speed 9
Exactly.
with Deadeye
So-
and brutal damage. Go fuck yourself.
And they've been, like, from my point of view, I've seen them complain about Haley a lot more than the Denny players have been complaining, because honestly, they understand the true power of Shadowbind still means that all the infantry is going to stand right there and be -3 defense. Plus, it has the offensive access, part of it,
Yep.
as they still drops their defense by like -3 or whatever, until they can shake. It's crazy good.
-3 defense. Ladies and gentlemen, haul out a goddamn bell curve and take a look at what that does to the normal distribution on this game. This is a game that is based 100%. This isn't some bucket of dice, motherfucker. This is a game that is based upon the bell curve, and all you have to do is look at that and distribute it and look at what a -3 defense does and go, well, I guess I'll take some of that.
I would take a feat in Mercenaries that was just everyone in your control area of 14 inches is -3 defense. They'd give me that Mercenaries and be like, look, this is the promised land. This thing's fucking amazing.
There's every reason to believe I'm going to lose 1 or 2 patrons over this particular rant, but that's okay.
I hope not.
I hope
come on,
not
guys.
too.
Taking the spirit. I mean, we love you all, but both sides need to meet in the middle and realize that you both have some arguments, but you're both overreacting in some way.
By the way, John, I want to welcome Greenleaf Terrain on to. I had the wonderful opportunity to meet our good benefactor when I was in Buffalo, and he came up to the co-op when we were playing a team game with Owen the Cooler. And I'll tell you what, a wonderful fella. And folks, if you need some terrain, get it from Adam at Greenleaf Terrain. He's an amazing guy. Anyway, so are we rant off on this one, John?
Absolutely. I just wanted to get that off my chest.
That's good.
I feel better now.
It's our chest too, man. I believe it. I agree with you 100%. So, and then on for Haley 3, we the rest of this was pretty obvious, I think.
Yeah, this one seems like it's a slipped through the editors, I think. Based on some other words they said, I think their editors maybe are got a little more on their plate than they can handle.
Yeah.
And everyone slips through. Everyone makes mistakes. No one's perfect. This looks like a slip through editing. Since they changed temporal flux to only reflect friendly, not friendly faction.
As it should
friendly
be.
faction, not friendly. Yeah.
Welcome to the world of the rest of the damn factions, Signar.
Yeah.
As for Anson Durst, this only clears up something that made only sense, and that is that the clouds don't cause fire. They are just of fire type, and that only makes sense also. That just brings it into the rest of the world. The rest of the faction uses Eruption of Ash. It just kind of gets it all kind of tidied up a little bit.
Simple mistake. And then I guess the next one on page, 10.
Yeah, Bone Shaker.
His Bone Shaker, and I think that's literally just bringing all the Bone Shaker wordings in line with each other, because apparently there were 2 different wordings at least.
Yep, and that makes sense. I mean, the way it appears is that Bone Shaker on solos and Bone Shaker on a couple of casters were slightly different, different wordings. So this is just in keeping with Privateer's very wise choice to make sure that same named effects have the same text everywhere. Good job. And
the way it's worded, it would change. One of my locals actually thought he couldn't cast Bone Shaker at a Warcaster.
Oh,
based on his reading of it, and this makes it clear that obviously you can. You just don't get a bonus if you box him.
right. The game just F and ends.
Yeah.
So then, of course, we have the Pistol Wraith nerf, Death Chill. Replaces the second sentence of Chain Attack Death Chill with it makes you stationary. So this is a wonderful thing. John, your take.
My take, it's great because now it's not as good in all situations. Obviously, Colossals don't care about stationary. The book can make you immune to stationary. Oh my God, Pistol Wraiths aren't worth 3 points. Forget that. I play guns. That's what I love. I put Pistol Wraiths in my Exxon Texas list because I need guns, and they're still fine. In fact, I was telling John in the pre-ramble, I'll give a little bit to you guys as well. I've already used it to kill a caster because I managed to make it stationary, and then auto-hitting's the thing. You know, shakeable is one thing, and making Death Hill shakeable would have been interesting, but this is like, you make him, it's shakeable, and Colossals are immune to it.
Yeah.
But it gets a huge bonus against anything else. Oh my God, you're worried about that Man of War Covenant, Man of War Dracoon coming in? Boom, boom, boom. Now he's stationary. He ain't doing a darn thing.
Yeah, that's just it. This makes Pistol Wraiths deadly against infantry models or anything that has that is not a Focus or Fury manipulation type model.
And it's still good against jacks because suddenly you get this, sometimes you get those jacks with reach that are just in the worst possible place. You can't get your stuff past it because he's going to free strike, and Death Chillin' doesn't stop deep free strikes. Now, stationary, guess what? That stops free strikes.
Exactly.
So I would call this one it's pretty much a net sum zero. It's better against a wide variety of things. It's worse against the stuff that they really wanted to do, but honestly, you can't have this, death chilling a Mountain King then hitting him with blind and suddenly he doesn't do a damn thing.
Exactly.
That's horseshit. You've got 5 points of models entirely stopping a model. Not just kinda, entirely stopping a model.
Exactly. And I couldn't agree with you more, John. I think it makes the Pistol Wraith a fair model.
It's fair. It's no longer I gotta take it for 3 points. It's now I'm gonna consider it, and I personally feel in most games it's worth 3 points. People go out of their way to kill them. Trust me, I've been playing a lot of Cephalics, and people focus on them a lot, and it's good. Incorporeal's huge.
It's a big deal. Let's move on to Tyrone, the Sword of Truth.
Yes.
Anybody?
Oh my God, they nerfed Rhett.
Oh my God, this is worse than Force Wall or whatever it was. No, this is not Hail Hydra. Yeah, Hail Hydra. Anybody that thought that his feet lasted the entire game is an asshole and shouldn't listen to this show.
Or make it a very funny joke.
Exactly. Sergeant Nicholas Alphabet is no longer flanks with himself, so he will not go blind anytime soon. Moving right along. And now for my favorite one of the whole thing.
Get the Bruce.
Oh, what? Did I miss one?
No, the one for Bruce.
The
Mountain King.
The Mountain King. So let's talk about this one for a minute because I haven't lost my erection since this particular.
You should probably see a doctor then.
Probably.
That's the definition.
I probably should. For those of you playing along at home, as president of Warmachine and Hordes, I put this one in for myself because I'm president. I get to. So Mountain King gets assault. All of a sudden, he's worth 20 points. And
I personally felt he was close to worth 20 points anyways. I feel like he was one of those ones where you just gotta. He's a focus piece, not a just throw him in. Some of those Colossals you can just throw into a list and it's fine. He's a focus piece. And now he's a little better, and that's good.
So this rule, in and of itself, made two different models better. The first model it made better was the Mountain King. obviously, because he's a 10, getting to increase his threat range by allowing him to assault, big, huge deal. Getting a chance to double tap on the 10-inch spray, even better. Because because he'll be able to he'll be able to fly in there, assault, then punch whatever the hell it was that he assaulted to death, and or whatever. If it doesn't die immediately, it'll get to be punched the next time he activates, or not the next time, but the next initial attack that he uses, and then he'll get to spray again. Super legit. But the other model he brought back in that other people may not have thought about is a particular warlock named Gunbjorn.
Yep.
Gunbjorn has what the hell is the name of the rule? But the
Guided fire.
Guided fire. Yep. So the list I'm playing tomorrow, because I know none of my locals are listening to this show because they haven't found the gospel yet. But Mountain King with 2 slag trolls just became a thing.
Yeah. Actually, Oak in my local group played Mountain King and the Winter King at the same time.
I'll bet that was fairly awesome to watch.
I only saw a little bit of it, but it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'll get a Glacial King for sure when he comes out, when I can actually get one. But the Mountain King is going to get played tomorrow with 2 of the... so basically what you're going to have here is you're going to have 2 spray 10s, followed by 4 erosion guns, and all of them are going to be boosted to hit, and then they're going to be 4 dice, at least on the erosion guns, POW 13 4 dice weapon masters. That's going to be pretty amazing.
I just feel like Mountain King now is actually really good with Grim, too.
Oh, he's really good with Grim. He's going to...
Because Grim's feet means, like, you'll actually hit with the punches when you get in there, too.
Yeah. I mean, it's... Thank you.
It's good.
Berica continues to love him.
Yeah. Wow.
There's just a lot of awesome now. Thank God. Thank you, Privateer. Now poor Pink Mountain King sitting over there in my rack looking at things. He was like, "When are you gonna put me in, boss? When are you gonna put me in, boss?" I'm gonna tell you when I'm gonna put you in. It's gonna be the fucking Senior Pro Tour event at Warmachine Weekend.
Oh snap!
We're gonna have some fun. Anyway, let's
Time to start teching.
Let's tech against painting against PwMJ. Good luck with all that
I don't think
shit.
I can tech against the Mountain King.
No, exactly. Let's talk a little bit about another gargantuan that got a boost. The Archangel with Draconic Aura now suddenly setting everything within 2 inches of it on fire. This is amazing. What a great addition to this particular model that doesn't break anything.
No, it's. I'd say it's pretty much exactly what that ability needs to do. Now they just need to put it on the Tactical Arcanist Core. And
they also need to put it on the Siege Animatrix, because the Siege Animatrix is the best model in Warmachine and Hordes now.
Well, I don't know about that, but it's really good.
I want to accept tribute from the Secretary of Siege Animatrix Welfare, because God, the changes to this were amazing. I was on the day that this released. I was on Moose Machine with on the Twitches, and we talked about this over lunch and I believe we were the first ones, John, to actually talk about the Errata because we're awesome. And
probably. I was goobing with it with my coworker who has no idea what I'm talking about.
Yep. So
I took my lunch break and read it.
So the Siege Animatrix, once upon a time, you couldn't whip it yourself in order to get rage tokens, and it was only the tail attack that it could benefit from. Now we're whipping this motherfucker all the goddamn time, and we're taking all them rage tokens, and we're going to use any attack we want. So the guns get to attack, the tail gets to attack, everybody gets to attack. Motherfucker, we're coming to attack. The Siege Animatrix is legit.
Absolutely. I think it brings it into the realm of absolutely playable battle engine. I think leaving pretty much all of them in the playable area.
Yes, sir. I 100% agree with you on that. I think that it puts it actually... It's right there with the Circle battle engine as far as strength within Hordes, and it's probably in the top 3 for the battle engines related to the game, I think.
Don't know. I haven't really given it that much thought. I mean, I know number one's Menoth, and then we went from there.
Yeah, after
Because
that,
it self-generates its own boosts. I mean, after that, Stormstrider's pretty good. They're all actually pretty good. I mean, it was the worst. I love underappreciated models, and I got nothing for that one, unfortunately.
Yep.
It was just unfortunate, and now it's good. Now it's not all rainbows and flowers. You're still hurting it because you're whipping it, so it has to take damage. So you're chipping away at its number of boxes.
Yep.
And you're using your guys to do that, so you're kind of paying more points to do that. But hey, once it gets engaged, you're getting it yourself. I mean, it's at least makes it work on the advancements getting in there.
And not for nothing, but goddamn, this is such a pretty model that to get a chance to see it out on the table more frequently. I saw a picture from Marc-Andre LeBlanc, who I had a chance to get on Moose Machine with and talk about this. And he fielded Xerxes 2's Theme Force with 2 Siege Animatrix, a Mammoth, and Xerxes 2. Ladies and gentlemen, seeing 4 120 millimeter base models on the table at the same time was something to behold.
Yeah, that's always cool. I've seen a couple where they've had 2 battle engines and a colossal or something. That's pretty cool to see.
Yep.
It's always good to see that many big bases.
So let's move on to a lesser talked about change in the errata, but one that I think is important is that the Blightedness Grotesques name and subtype got changed to Raiders, Grotesque Raiders, and changed to Blightedness Unit. And I think that's important because that's going to open up some design space for the future, John.
Sure.
Oh, come on.
I totally forgot about that. Okay, let's be honest. I've seen one guy play Grotesques, and even he didn't get good use out of them. I mean, they're one of the unfortunate units in the game that I look at and they missed the mark with those.
So, here's what I've noticed about Privateer Press. If the Siege Animatrix can be made relevant, so can the Grotesque. And I bet you it's a UA away from being something stupid. So they're going to give it you have a UA that gives it no
quarter. No quarter is all it needs.
It'll probably get parry and no quarter. There you go. Named it.
Or you make a new one that basically gives them parry and +2 speed when they charge or something. They're just a giant combination of slow, easy to kill, and not offensive enough for their points.
Honestly, given their defensive numbers, parry would be okay with them.
Yeah, get them out of there, get them where they want to be, kill them gang better.
Yeah,
sure, I'd have no problem with that.
Yeah, so there you go.
It also opens up some design space and theme forces.
Not for nothing.
For them to be taken, yeah.
Not for nothing, but anything that gets more infantry on the table for Legion, I'm okay with.
Yeah.
All right, Caliban the Grave Walker gets Bone Shaker fixed, whatever. We talked about that. Yep. And that's it.
And that's all. Though they do want us to mention the subtle unbuffing of Morgul 2, the debuff there for blind, since his fan causes blind. And let me tell you a secret about Morgul 2. He's not as bad as anyone thinks.
Yep.
One of our guys locally, Ryan, plays him a lot and does well. He actually killed one of our locals who's really, really good on the top of 2. He's good. Any model with Arcane Assassin, this just in, it's good because you can't camp through that shit.
I am genuinely tired of people who get on the internets with these microphones, like are sitting right in front of my face, and who sit here and say, X and X are unplayable this, or garbage that, or are bullshit and shouldn't be played. I was listening to a podcast while I was working out this afternoon, and I wanted to reach through the internet and choke the son of a bitch. And so folks, this is a game with a design space that is larger than any of us can put our heads around. It really is an unsolved game. And if you think it is, you're doing it wrong. So John,
There's
go ahead.
almost nothing in the game that's unplayable. I cannot think of anything off the top of my head that's unplayable. Even grotesques, I just spent a lot of time to writing, still have some uses because they've got flight. If you're playing with Riot and Dash, they actually have a little bit of use
So,
because they can fly right over models, get to the models behind them. I mean, that's what the guy was using them for. I mean,
yep.
so they're not horrific. They're just maybe not as good. I mean, you got to find models. You can take models like that are unplayable. Look at what they have and use those strengths. And that because that's what PP was thinking about when they made them. They're like, look, these guys have flights, and you got to make that flight worth everything it can. Dash also takes care of their speed problem. So I mean, they're all usable. Look at Nigel with his Ocean's 18 list and bringing in some Cossite Woodsmen. Yeah, they're crap, but if you're stationary, guess what? Those shots are better.
Yes, they are. Folks, I just want to direct you real quickly to first off, I'd probably be the last person to ever say you should go to the Privateer Press forums because it is never has there been a more egregious den of scum and villainy. But in the rules thread, there is a thread that was posted by Dark Legacy, Travis Marg from the greater Milwaukee meta. And basically, he puts it in very much layman's terms what these different erratas are all about and puts them in very plain ways to explain it. And I've posted the list here, and you can see it up on your screen. And I really think that you should take a look at that. And I want to give a bit of a tip of the hat to Travis. Did a great job with this post. Very understandable. My biggest complaint about the Infernals to date has been that they tend to be so terse in their response that you don't necessarily always understand what the hell they mean, because the fuckers should explain what the fuck they mean because they should explain it, and Travis is not like that. Travis actually does a good job of explaining. So on behalf of Penny with MenothJohn and myself and John Spencer, hey Ron. Some of the Infernals drive me fucking nuts. Anyway, so let's go back to the face cam here. And that's it for that. So, John, we're going to kick this over to you, and we're going to take any questions and answers for the president. By the way, for those of you who are wondering, the First Lady is, of course, Belinda Librarian. It would not be a fair and balanced society without her. I'm going to go ahead and put this on to the painting cam. She also wanted to let everyone know that she is going to support drugs that are not bad. That are not bad, excuse me. She wants to support drugs that are not bad. And
Gotcha.
She would like to have some say in as far as vegetables are concerned, in growing things, as she is very into plants and whatnot. John, before we take questions, I think a model would like to come forward to have a word. Is that okay?
Sure thing. Hit it up.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of our sponsors, this is a Trollkin Sorcerer. Here he is right now for Discount Games Incorporated, Greenleaf Terrain, and Games and Gears. Hi, I am a Trollkin Sorcerer. Now, people say that on the front of my scroll it says Painting with MenothJohn. I can't see it because I'm somehow supposed to be reading a scroll, and there isn't jack nor shit on my side of the scroll. What the hell's up with that? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to say that if you need models in your local game store for one reason or another isn't taking care of you the way you ought to be taken care of, think about Discount Games Incorporated. If you need terrain for your games, I suggest Adam at Greenleaf Terrain. I met him MenothJohn met him in Canada. And he's legit. He's really skinny, too. I don't know what he eats. But anyway, also, if you need brushes or towels, because towels are important from reading the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you could go to Games and Gears. They're awesome. They make interesting things that are for gaming and terrain sometimes, but not different terrain than Greenleaf Terrain. Anyway, so I'm a sorcerer, and I said I'd keep this short. Ah. So there you have it, folks. He's done. He's had enough. That's a Trollkin sorcerer. I freehanded that shit on the front of his scrolls.
That's legit.
Yeah, I think that turned out pretty. I'm going to put it back up there for the... There. My camera's having some trouble focusing on it, but painting with MenothJohn. Why not, huh? I should have put a little Ron down here at the bottom of it. What do you mean you should have put a little Ron? I can't see what you're talking about. There you go. There you go. A conversion to replace a scroll with a towel would rock. Thank you. Too late for that shit. I'm not doing it. I already painted all this shit.
The second one. The second one.
No, I'm not having a second one. So there you go. But
Why
maybe
not?
I guess I could, but they're only 1
Come on,
point.
you got to go full FA. It's not like your co-host bought 2 units of Idrian skirmishers just because they can play with the Magnus theme list. He totally didn't do that.
No, why would you? Oh.
I need to put those together.
Oh. Yeah, I know. There's a few people that I feel sorry for, but Craig Caton is not one of them. He's putting together 3 units of NIS because he got commissions.
Oh my god.
That's fucked up. That's bad. That is bad production planning, actually. And while I love Craig and he's amazing and I love that guy, hats off to Captain Con for grabbing that coveted early February spot.
Yeah, it means I'm much more likely to go to that than to actually TempleCon now. That's one of those spots where it's like, it's not necessarily as busy at my work, so maybe we'll see.
So would you care to hear, John, MenothJohn's take on the dichotomy that is Captain Con?
Sure.
I think they got a problem on their hands.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that the problem that we have is that our good friends at Captain Con, and I love those guys. I mean, Hacksaw is amazing. I've known him for a long, long time. And Craig Caton and everybody out there. I think what we're going to have in February is an Eastern Con and a Western Con because the LVO has moved to the same date.
That's actually not bad.
I don't think it's a bad thing either.
It sounds bad, and I think that actually needs to happen more with any of the cons on the coasts. Like, if you want to put a West Coast con on, around the time of an East Coast con is not bad because, let's be honest, we don't need everyone traveling to every con.
Yep.
And the more you have, the more, like, if the guys from the Midwest or, the more Southwest, more West can't make it, that's okay. That's more spots for the guys on the East Coast to feel like they make it.
Yep. So
I've heard occasional people say, like, oh, hey, I'm not going to go to this con because, there's not going to be spots anyways.
Yep. So I'm going to find myself probably at the LVO, just not because, man, I love the guy. I love Craig and I love Hacksaw and all those guys. But I got a direct flight to Vegas from Milwaukee on Southwest. And Southwest flies 737s. That means I could bring 2 Warmachine bags on the plane. And that's a win right there.
The more space for bringing stuff is good. Actually, I think so far, Not Brushhead Dave and I are driving to Warmachine Weekend while Bowie and... I don't know what his name is on here. Volpe's Astro is his current name on the Muse forums.
Yep.
Are flying out, and we're just going to put their extra bags in the car, and we're just going to drive out because he doesn't.
John, if you guys need a it's not a midway point, but it's a place to stop. If you want to stop at my place and crash for the night, you're more than welcome to.
We're just going to crash at some crappy.
You're going to crap someplace. Huh?
Yeah, we're just gonna go some crappy motel halfway there. We're gonna drive 8 or 9 o'clock maybe in the night on Wednesday, then stop at some place and show up midday, late afternoon on Thursday. It's all good.
Perfect, man. I just wanted to throw that out there for you.
I appreciate it.
Let's go ahead and do a little Q&A. Do we have any flippity bloops or Q&A or anything like that? I'm gonna paint the base on my sorcerer that you guys just saw.
Excellent. Well, we have one from Dowdark. He said, which cabinet crony is most likely to be the first cabinet member to filibuster via drinking Kraken uninterrupted? Oh, my Lord.
I'm going to say probably Michael Chili Winters.
Probably. Get wrecked, nerd.
Yep. Just because he's chili, and we love chili, and he's super sweet, and never would say anything bad about him. But that is probably the truth. This microphone is completely in the way if I want to try and fucking paint.
That happens. Remember how you used to paint around the camera? I remember that shit.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
So no other questions. Maybe they'll get us some more. But I'm going to hit some battle report notes.
Yeah, please do.
I'm going to mention how I lost to Volpe's Astro on Scenario because I couldn't roll a 5 when Acosta blew up in Kruger's face and he had 4 hit points left. I only needed to roll 5 to kill him. I rolled a 3. It happens. I mean, I'm not going to blame the dice for that loss. I could have done stuff better in there, but it was a fun game. It is fun having that guy in his face going, go ahead, kill me and score the zone. Maybe I kill you too.
Because Acosta's like that.
Oh, Acosta, I mean, I rolled crappy and I still basically killed the Gorax through him.
My favorite frickin' salt of everything I read in the Signar forums was Acosta's now garbage.
Oh God. Get over yourself, people.
Jesus
Seriously.
fucking Christ.
Get over yourself.
You're like
Acosta's really good. I was under Kruger's feet and I got to wander forward and then wander into melee with him. He had no clue I was going to wander that close. And it was like, whack, whack. Look, I'm prime. POW 11, Mat 11, POW 15. That's not a thing. Holy crap.
What are you doing here?
Oh, so good. It's hilarious.
Yeah, people's lack of imagination bores the shit out of me.
But I did find that maybe I need to update my list more. I've just been making little changes for the past, let's say 3 years or so. And maybe I need to go back to the drawing board, get some changes to lists.
How healthy
That's a good
is
idea,
that?
guys. Sometimes you take lists and you just change them a little bit as stuff comes out. At a certain point, you got to stop, push it aside, go, let's make something new up.
Absolutely.
And also, when you're making lists, state your goal. Know what you're going for. Are you going to try and win tournaments? Because that's fair. Or are you going to try and just have a good time? I've been doing a lot of having a good time. Actually, one of the guys who helped us out a couple times with the Power Couple Deathmatch, Matt Hennemeyer, who's local and very good with cricks normally. He also delivered the killing blow to the ungodly Lich 2 Haley 2 combination there. And he told me that I've been helping people out so much with my other lists. I haven't been doing enough with my lists, which is why I'm maybe a little rusty with them.
Is this a deep thought with John Spencer we just had right now?
That is kind of a deep thought. Because I've been talking, I mean, I'm not upset that I lost the game. I was in it to the end, but I feel like I could have played it better. Hell, I forgot to activate Rupert entirely on my last turn. And he could have made some guys tough, gotten in the zone, and made it a lot harder for him to win the game.
I miss those deep thoughts, man.
Well, I don't get as many deep thoughts because honestly, after a certain point, they're just like, it's the same thing again and again.
It's true.
Plus, honestly, a lot of it, some of the other guys, like I played one of the locals, Jason, challenged me with his Kador. And, I'm bringing out my Cephalix because that's what I'm focusing on. I'm playing, I've changed my caster challenge from Magnus 2 to Thexus to try and get more experience because I find myself making little errors and not getting used to what the Cephalix stuff does. So I broke them out, and I'm like, oh, look, there's an objective. I can clear a line to an objective. I feeded, pushed some poor Winterguard Rifle Corps into their own, or their other Rifle Corps' covering fire, killing them. Hilarious.
Supportive.
And then I'm like, oh, look, here's a clear line, and I got all this stuff clustered around an objective. I'm going to go up, hit it twice, hopefully. Because here's a funny thing. The game before, I was going up against Rhett, and I'm like, I'm going to go in, I'm going to hit the objective twice, and I'm just going to get to crush a bunch of sentinels and stuff, roll a lot of attacks. Except that I killed the objective on the first hit.
Ruh-roh.
At dice -1.
Oh, that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, I rolled 17. I rolled 16, killed it exactly. I'm like,
Well,
son of a
shit.
biscuit eater. Because now suddenly you're like, well, I don't get that chain attack now, which is too bad. This time, though, it worked in my favor. I got the chain attack off. Started taking attacks. Almost dismounted the Dracoon with 1 attack. At dice -2.
Wow.
Yeah. That was
Wow,
a thing.
you're rolling some fire, Chief.
And then I'm like, oh, look, there's, I beat back after killing it and pop forward. I'm like, oh, look, there's old witch hanging out. I'll boost attack on her, see what I do.
And
dice plus 3? All right, like 6 damage, no big deal. I got 2 fury left. How about I just buy and boost on her again? I need a 10 to kill her. Roll a 10.
boom.
Good game. Bottom of 2.
There's
It
nothing wrong
happens.
with that, man. There's nothing
But you
wrong
know
with
what?
that.
But you know what Jason's thing is? Jason's like, now I see what some of your stuff can do. I know there's all these tricks out there. I know maybe not to stand so close to the objective. I'm like, absolutely, my man. You learned some stuff. And I like a lot of the newer guys. Some of the newer guys have this opinion of, maybe they've been beating up their buddies. They're like, I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest. And then one of us heavy hitters comes in, and we crush them. I mean, let's be honest. We've been playing the game for a while.
Yep.
And they get a little discouraged. But some of the other ones, the ones who I think really have potential, looking and going, all right, I've learned some stuff now. I see what stuff can do. And those are the guys who are going to be dangerous.
Yep, because they're going to learn from their experience. I've been running into more and more people, John, that have been talking about some of the newer players that have only been playing the game for a short period of time, but are making great progress with the game in short order. And those are the folks that we've got to watch out for. Some of us older fellas, we got to keep an eye on those guys because we got to slap them down and drive them out of the game before they make us irrelevant.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out. I'm going to give a shout out to all the guys who helped us with the Power Couple Deathmatch.
Amen.
Andrew Eller, one of my locals, played, and honestly, he has the most fun playing this game of anyone. He loses a ton of games. In fact, if there's a tournament, honestly, we give it a last race prize. He's probably in the running for it more often than not.
Mm-hmm.
But he has so much fun playing the game, and that's the spirit you want to channel.
Yep.
He doesn't care if he's winning. He's having a good time playing the game.
So on behalf of John and I'm going to give you a Ron. Hey, Ron.
Ron.
I'm
Well, I don't think we're getting any more questions, so I'm going to roll right into the media section because I watched a ton of movies this week.
Please do, man.
So I watched 3 movies. One I think I talked about. If not, I'll throw a little bit at it at the end. I liked them all. That's a good week,
That's a damn good week of movie watching.
I'm going to start with the one I didn't think I was going to like. That's a third movie in a series. Just came out on Amazon Prime not too long ago. Figured, what the hell, I'll watch it. Expendables 3.
Oh, I love that movie.
That movie was what I was promised when Expendables 1 came out.
Yep.
Let's just get it out of the way.
Super fun.
I'm actually rewatching Expendables 1 right now for like the 4th time. And it's not a bad movie, but it wasn't what I was promised. You can see in the movie, you're like, there's a lot of potential here, but they tried. They just didn't hit the mark,
Yep.
There's no like glaring errors. It just didn't hit the mark. It's just a little bit off. Then Expendables 2 came about, and you're like, holy shit, there's really the kernel of a decent movie here. But they are trying way too fucking hard. The banter, that was horrible. Horrible. And then you get Expendables 3, and I'm like, my barometer's set really low. I'm like, I'm not expecting this to be good. Watch the beginning, I'm like, okay. And then you get to the part where he recruits the new team, and you're like, all right, I'm down with this.
I'm in.
This is an 80s action movie in the 2000s.
Agreed.
This is what I was promised the first one. You get Ronda Rousey in there, proving maybe she could be a superhero.
She needs to be Miss Marvel.
She can't be Captain Marvel. She's not good enough. I'm sorry. I'm much happier with this than I was with her in Furious 7. But I don't think she's got the acting chops to headline a movie. She doesn't.
Okay, fine.
Let's be honest. Her and Gina Carano, who are the 2 MMA ladies who have decided to take up some acting. Gina Carano can only barely headline a movie, and she's a bit ahead of poor Ronda Rousey. But Ronda Rousey tried.
But for the first 32 seconds, Ronda Rousey is awesome.
She was fine. Like, I had no problems. Like, that's the thing with this movie. There's a lot of people in it. There were no glaring acting errors in this movie. None. There were jokes that didn't quite hit the mark they wanted to, which is okay. It happens in every movie. And that's why it's only a good movie, not a great movie. But the action's good. Antonio Banderas is hilarious. In fact, I think the worst person in that movie is probably Sylvester Stallone.
That's fair.
They keep Randy Couture as to a short role, which is fine. They got a little more Dolph Lundgren, which is good because Dolph Lundgren is awesome.
He's way better than you ought to be.
Jason Statham's probably a little underused in it, but that's fine. But this movie's fun and good. It's everything you wanted from the first Expendables, but didn't get until now. And Mel Gibson's just as good of a bad guy as Jean-Claude Van Damme was in the second one. He was like the shining point of the second one. Mel Gibson's just as good as a bad guy.
Because he's a horrible person, and that's okay.
And Harrison Ford is better as, the role he's in than Bruce Willis was in a similar role. Because Bruce Willis was a little... I think he was phoning it in the second one.
Fair enough.
But I like that movie. I'm gonna give it a shot at Kraken. I didn't need more than that. You might need a shot and a half if you don't like 80s action movies as much as I do, but it was pretty good. I heartily suggest watching it. I may watch it again.
I'd watch it again. I love that movie. I thought very highly of it. I didn't pick up on the fact that Ronda Rousey was in there because I didn't have any idea that Ronda Rousey was a thing until recently.
I didn't until the end when they showed the credits. I'm like, oh, that's Ronda Rousey. God, she was way better than she was in Furious 7.
She's way better than she is when she's knocking the shit out of people for 32 seconds. Anyway, so there you go. Yeah, that. Now, I know you've got 3.5 movies you want to talk about.
Well, the half was Expendables 1. I don't need to talk about that again. I sort of covered it already.
All right.
Or we can talk about the Madden commercial. Did you see the Madden commercial?
Oh my God, the Madden commercial was amazing.
Oh my Lord, I drafted Colin Kaepernick just because of his impression of Al Pacino from Scent of a Woman.
Hooah!
I'm like, all right, I got you. I gotta.
Yeah, that was.
It hit all the right notes of absolutely silly.
Yep, it was great. I don't even like the San Francisco 49ers, but I love that part.
Like, honestly, it's like a Robert Downey Jr. said in the one Ben Stiller movie, one of the Ben Stiller movies I really, really like, they didn't go full retard, so they're okay.
Yep.
They stopped just short. It was pretty hilarious.
The thing that Gronkowski had on that was shooting the balls and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
It was
so good.
Great. I mean, they hit so many, and then they went to the Bollywood thing and pulled in the whole. If you've ever watched a Bollywood movie, that was just spot on. It was great.
It's one of the best commercials for anything ever. Like, find it on YouTube. It's on their Madden channel or EA Sports channel. Just give it a look. It's pretty hilarious.
Oh,
did you watch any movies this week?
Did I watch it? I watched. I was watching Starship Troopers tonight.
Okay.
And I made reference to that earlier in the show, where I mentioned that Diz is way hotter than the actress, whatever the fuck her name was.
Denise Richards.
Denise Richards, yeah, fuck her. And Diz, I'm all about Diz. This is Diz 2015.
That's why I was so happy when Dina Meyer, who plays Diz, was in the old Birds of Prey TV series as Oracle / Batgirl / Barbara Gordon.
She would make an amazing Batgirl.
She was Batgirl. Was in the series. It just didn't go anywhere, unfortunately.
Right, exactly. So I'm just saying she would make an amazing one. So I would also say that I watched, we did a lot of classic 1950s science fiction watching with my son.
Sweet.
Kind of caught him up on some of the classics. We watched War of the Worlds.
Okay.
The 1953 version. We watched When Worlds Collide.
I'm not sure I've seen that one.
Okay, When Worlds Collide is an adaptation from a book where this one planet, in the movie, this one planet barely misses the Earth, and the second one that it's orbiting around is slams right into the Earth, and essentially the thing that's going to happen is that the planet that barely misses is going to be livable, maybe, they think. So they build this spacecraft to go land on it. And it's wonderful 1950s. It's everything you want from a 1950s movie. I also watched The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Legit.
Yep, watch that. Gort Barada Niktu.
You know what the best thing about the DVD Blu-ray release of the Keanu Reeves version of that is?
What's that?
It came with the original.
Oh, that's amazing.
I was like, hell yeah, it's on my wish list. I'm gonna buy it eventually because it's got both. I'm like, I can't fault a remake that's tip of the hat. Let's put the original on the Blu-ray release.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's really
Yeah,
great. And then I watched the Angry Red Planet, which
I have not
is
seen that one. I know.
so. Here's interesting fact about the Angry Red Planet. Made in the 1950s. It was made for $200,000
That's like
in
chump
10
change.
days.
10 days is amazing. I don't care. Like, holy moly.
They made a movie in a week and a half, and it was amazing. And basically, the big thing that they introduced was that there was a lot of scenery that was strictly drawn, and the way
Okay.
that they kind of the way that they portrayed when they were on Mars was that everything was kind of red, and they just put like a red filter on everything, and it was really really well done. I mean, the whole concept was that they went to Mars and everything wanted to kill them because it was alien. Go figure. And it was only 4 actors, I think, in the whole movie. And it was really, really, it's on Netflix, I think, or might also be on Amazon. Check it out, An Angry Red Planet. I'm going to give it 1 shot of Kraken. I liked it a lot. It's very cheesy. You have to like 1950s science fiction, which is essentially a lot more of story instead of necessarily
Explosions.
yeah. And the character who is the strongest is the woman. So it's very ahead of its time. Plenty of sexism. Don't get me wrong. There's
Yeah.
plenty. There's as far as you can throw. Yeah.
Let's be honest. The movie industry is rife with it. I'm always impressed when it's the opposite.
Yep. So there you go. That's a movie for you to watch if you haven't watched The Angry Red Planet. It has a creature in it that looks like a mouse had a love affair with a very long-legged spider.
Oh, snap.
Let that run through your head for a second or two.
That sounds like something out of The Thing, honestly.
Yeah. And Adam from Greenleaf Terrain does point out correctly, you don't have to go to Mars to find something that wants to kill you. You need only go to Australia.
That's fair.
Everything in Australia wants to kill you, including Oz Machine. So
Fair enough.
there you go. Anything else, John, that you have as far as episodes or movies or anything you want to show?
Oh, yeah. I finally bought on DVD my favorite Western ever, which I'm not going to spend time and have people guess because no one's been able to guess it yet.
Westworld.
No.
That's not a Western. But anyway, go ahead.
Not really. It's a little flick called Silverado.
Silverado.
Has an amazing cast. The only big actor, the biggest actor in it is Kevin Costner, and he doesn't have the biggest part. Really, it's more of Scott Glenn is the main character, if you would, with Kevin Kline sort of being second. But it's got Danny Glover and Kevin Costner and Linda Hunt and Jeff Goldblum and Brian Dennehy. It's got a lot of guys. John Cleese is in it for a bit.
Shut up.
Yeah, he plays a West. He actually. They hang a lampshade on his accent. Basically, he's an immigrant from England. He happens to be sheriff of a town. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. That's America.
Works for me, man.
And it's a good Western. They all have chemistry together. It tells a pretty believable story and tells a good, tight little story. I love it. It's fun when it needs to be fun. It's serious when it needs to be serious. It's got some good gunfights. It doesn't sugarcoat things. There's some blatant, if you will, racism at a point that shows the times. It's got a great epic score, which helps. And I mean, I really love this Western. I suggest it for anyone. I don't think it's available for free anywhere, but it's pretty cheap on DVD. So see maybe if Netflix has it. If not, maybe pick it up. It's a pretty good movie.
There you go, man.
I give it straight up 0 shots of Kraken. Granted, I love it. You'll probably find it about a 1-ish. Jeff Goldblum as gambler, card shark type of guy is pretty funny. It's great the scene he shows up in. He walks up to the sheriff and he's like, "Hey, sheriff, I'm an honest gambler. I'd love to run a game in your town. Who do I speak to? I hope it's not this gentleman who's lying dead in front of me." Just the way he says it's great. Like I said, I enjoy the heck out of it. You know, I gave it 0 shots of Kraken, but it's also one of the first westerns I saw in that time when you could really understand movies.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, John.
I got one more.
Oh,
I'm not
shit!
done. I got the third.
Who turned the music on? Who turned that music on? Let's turn that music off. Yeah, going right away.
The last one is Predators, which I'm not sure if I've reviewed. I might have at least mentioned something in the comments way back in the day, before I was the co-host with the most. Predators is the ostensive sequel to Predator, ignoring Predator 2, which is unfortunate because Predator 2 is underrated. It's actually better than people think. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good. It also does make Bill Paxton one of the few people who's been killed by both a Predator and a Terminator.
Boom. There you go.
But Predators is, Adrian Brody as the obsessive lead, but it's sort of got this sort of all-star cast of mostly people you haven't seen. The only people you recognize are Adrian Brody, Topher Grace, and Danny Trejo for about 12 seconds.
Wow. There you go.
It's super fun. I feel like it's got a little part in the middle where it's kind of slow, where it fits the story. Like, it doesn't take you out of the story, but it ramps off the tension and everything. But it's definitely a little slower, but it's still a good movie. It's also got what's it, Walton Goggins. Do you know who Walton Goggins is?
Nope.
Walton Goggins is great. He's going to be in The Hateful Eight. He's in a bunch of other movies, little bit parts. He's also in one of the main characters in Justified.
Okay, I've heard of that. I've heard of that show.
He's really good. He's really amusing to see. He plays this ex-con. It tells a little bit of a deeper thing. Like if you want to look into the movie, there's some deeper content you can gain because he starts off as this, racist, not quite skinhead neo-Nazi, but obviously doesn't like black people.
So very likable.
Yeah, well, he's not really likable. No one's really likable except for maybe the chick and Topher Grace. And then and towards the end, he's like, "Look, man, I don't care." He quickly when he sit there, life's on the line, you realize how maybe race doesn't matter nearly as much. So there's some deeper stuff you can gain from it. They didn't aim for that necessarily. There's some other deeper stuff, but man, it's just a good time. It's basically Predator, but there's multiple of them, so it's Predators. Pretty good. Adrian Brody's unlikely action hero. Topher Grace in it is actually pretty amusing. And some of the cast isn't necessarily the greatest. They have a guy playing a Spetsnaz guy who's he's okay. But overall, pretty good. I give it a shot at Kraken.
Nice. So that's Predators, right?
Predators, yes.
Okay, I'll have to take a look at it.
Yeah, it's good.
Excellent.
So that's it. That's all I watched this week. Sorry, guys. I actually did other stuff a couple nights.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with that. And here we are. It's 8:28. How we managed to time this show out to be as long as it is. Yes, because you're the co-host, the host. And, get out there and enjoy this game. We spend a lot of time talking about painting and stuff like that, and that's an aspect of the hobby, and it's one that we help promote. But at the end of the day, this show is about promoting fun. And get out there and just have fun with it. On Monday, I'm going to go play with a group that, they're all newer players, and I'm going to make sure that each and every one of them has a good time while I am kicking their ass. So, but at the end of the day, I think that painting Buddha said it right. The top 10 things you can do in this hobby when painting is, number 1, have fun. Number 2, have fun. Number 3, have fun. And so on and so forth, all the way until you get to number 10, and it's, for God's sakes, have fun. And that's what we're all about. Get over there, have some fun, and, it won't be too much longer. We're going to be doing another Brushhead Gallery here at the Painting with MenothJohn show. And
it's coming up.
Yep, and sure look forward to seeing each and every one of yours. Special shout out tonight to Sarah Jane Chu, who won the Best Painted Army contest at the Scottish Masters this weekend. She's a brushhead, and she is a super awesome representative of everything that is right about this game. Sarah Jane Chu, congratulations. I'm MenothJohn. On behalf of the co-host, the mo-host, you're watching the MenothJohn Show, and as president of Warmachine and Hordes, I wish you a spiffy good night. Good night, everybody.